Hello, friends. Welcome to Faith Infusion, where you get your weekly dose of faith. I want to actually talk about, producing result in our prayer. The Bible tells in the book of Psalm 65, verse 2, say, "Oh, thou that hearest prayer, unto thee shall all flesh come." Why? Because the Lord actually does answers prayer. And then John also said in the book of First John, he said, "This is the confidence that we have, that whatever we ask of him, that we receive the petition that we present before him." Okay, and then we see, and then Jesus himself put it in the book like this, in the book of John chapter 15, and I'm reading from verse 7, tells us exactly how to produce result in prayers. And then it said here, "If you live in me," verse 7 in the book of John chapter 15, "if you live in me, abide vitally united to me, and my words remain in you," said, "continue to live in your heart. Ask whatever you will." Now mark the word, "and my words remain in you," and continue to live in your heart. Now, if you look at it, you say, "Ask what you will." What you definitely ask is as a result of, it's a product. In other words, the desire that comes from your heart that makes you request that you present before God is a product of His word. It's a product of His word. So it says here, "If you live in me, abide vitally united to me, and my words remain in you," it said, "and continue to live in your hearts. Ask what you will, and it shall be done for you." Somebody may ask the question, how do I know if His word truly lives in me? And the simple answer is love. The Bible tells in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 13, it says, "Love does not fail." Love does not fail. And then tells us in the book of Galatians chapter 5, it said for that faith works by love. Faith works by love. And then we know that we need to pray, that Jesus said that when we actually ask Him of anything, that we need to believe in our heart that I'll receive it. So in other words, so what I'm simply saying here is this: if you want to bring forth command result in your prayer life, He said that the desire of your heart has to be a product of the word. And then now, the first thing first is that the word of God, how do you know lives in your heart? The word of God will actually produce love. Remember, he said it's not just coincidence that the Bible talked about the fruit of the Spirit. The first thing that they mentioned is love. Every other things, every other character, every other fruit is actually a product of love. So he's simply saying here that if you allow the word of God to reside in you, he said it produces love. And then your desire, is actually a product of love. He said when you pray, love does not fail. And then when you pray from that, that revelation, and when you pray from that position, he said, then ask whatever you will, and it shall be done. Remember, I said, delight yourself in the Lord. And that's where again, delight yourself means you love the Lord. And that love is created by the word of God. He said, and He will give you the desire of your heart. So when you pray, and that prayer is a product of the word of God that gives birth to love, it said, then you cannot miss it. You cannot miss. Somebody may ask the question, how do I know that He's talking about love? If you look down exactly what it said in verse 8, He said, "When you bear, produce much fruit, my Father is honored and glorified, and you show and prove yourself to be my true followers of mine." Remember the same word He used. "By this shall men know that you are my disciple, when you love one another." So if you look at here, if you say that people shall know that we are disciples of Jesus by the way we love each other, and then He simply say here, He said, "When you bear, produce much fruit, my Father is honored and glorified, and you shall and prove yourself to be my true followers of mine." So therefore, if love actually is a way for us to display that we are disciples of Jesus, and it says by fruit bearing is also a way to actually display that we are followers of Jesus. Simply say, he said that fruit bearing is a product of love. So in other words, if you want to command result in your prayer life, it has to be a product of the word that gives birth to love. And then the desire of your heart is a product of the love of God in your heart. And then he went ahead to say, "I have loved you just as the Father has loved me. Abide in my love." You see, that's why I said that it has to be what your desire has to come from the place of love for it to produce result. Abide in my love, continue His love with me. He said, verse 10, "If you keep my commandment, if you continue to obey my instruction, you will abide in my love." Remember, He said, "My word abide." Now He actually said the same thing here. If you abide in my love, He said, you will abide in my love and live on in it. So He's talking about here the word of God is going to produce love, and the love, is going to produce your desire. And when you bring this desire to God, it therefore brings result. He said, just as I've obeyed my Father's commandment and live on in his love. And verse 11 says, I've told you this thing, that my joy and delight may be in you, and that your joy and gladness may be of full measure and complete and overflowing. In verse 12, he said, this is my commandment, that you love one another just as I have loved you. So how do you produce result? In summary, in prayer, the prayer, the desire has to come from the word, and that the word has to live in your heart, and then the word that lives in your heart produces love, and love actually is the place from which the desires of your heart actually comes, and you present to God. Because you see, when the desire of your heart comes from the place of love, it will be unselfish. It will be selfless, it will be kingdom based, I'm telling you this. And then it will definitely be full of humility, full of meekness, and therefore when this thing comes, I'm telling you this, you cannot miss it. So God is telling you here, let your prayers be centered in love. Whether you pray for somebody, whether you're praying for the intervention of God in a nation, whether you're praying for finances, whatever it is that you're praying for or praying about, you can even be dealing with adversaries, make sure that your prayer is a product of love. When your prayer is actually a product of God's love, you will never miss it. So go out there and continue to win and see great results in Jesus' mighty name. So I look forward to speaking to you again next time. Until then, keep walking in the love of God. God bless you. Bye-bye.